To begin, place your green grass at the bottom facing you. And then we're going to always begin by weaving from the end, okay? The end row could be here, could be this side. It doesn't matter, but you're always going to start weaving from the end. And weaving is the process of going under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over. It's an A, B pattern, okay? So I'm going to start by going under the first thread, and then I need to go over the next one, and then under, over, under, over, under, over, under. And at a certain point, it's easier for me to just pick up my threads. Under, over, under, and over. Okay, so once you have that A, B pattern going all the way across, you are simply going to pull your needle, okay? Now, if I just stopped right there, I wouldn't have, or stop pulling, I wouldn't have very much yarn to weave with, would I? Okay, and I have tons of yarn over here. So once you finish weaving a row, it's important that you pull that extra slack out. Now, if you pull it super close like that, that is simply going to unravel, and that is not going to be good. So you want to leave a short tail, maybe about an inch or so long, okay, about the length of your finger. And then you're ready for your next row, okay? Now, to begin the next row, it's always very important that you do the opposite of how you ended. Now, if you look here, you can see I ended by going over this black thread. And if I ended by going over, I must start by going under, okay? It's important that you do that. Otherwise, all that weaving is going to unravel. That won't be good, okay? So I ended by going over, so I'm going to start by going under and then do my A-B pattern. So under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. And then I grab my needle and I can pull it through, okay? And see all this extra yarn hanging over here? That's ugly looking, okay? Plus, that's how I do my weaving. So I need to pull that through, okay, until I'm out of slack. So I'm going to keep pulling, okay, and pulling and pulling and pulling until it just comes right up to it. And then I'm going to stop pulling, because if I keep pulling, look what happens to that end thread. Do you see how that end thread gets pulled in? That does not look very nice, okay? Now, if you do that by accident, you can fix it right away, okay? But you have to do it right away. What you do is you just stick your needle in there and you just tug it back out, okay? So that this end thread goes nice and straight, okay? Now, once you have gone all the way across, you're going to start smashing it down to the bottom, and it's going to start forming your house. And notice that end thread, just leaving that there. Later on, we're going to cut it out, but not right now. If you cut it off now, the whole thing could unravel. Okay, so I'm going to look at that end row, and do you notice I ended by going over? So the opposite of going over is going under. So I'm going to start by going under, and then I do my A-B pattern. Over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, and over. I have my A-B pattern, and so I'm going to pull it through, okay? And I pull, pull, pull nice and slow, okay, until it just touches it. Remember, if I pull too tight, it's going to pull that end thread in, and I don't want that. Now, once it just touches it, you simply go and you tuck it down, and you have another row of your house. My ends are nice and straight because I wasn't pulling too tight, okay? And I'm ready to begin my next row. So I'm going to look back, and you can see I ended by going over this thread. So the opposite would be to start by going under. Okay, now I'm going to show you the wrong way to do it, because I want you to know what happens if you don't do the opposite. So I ended by going over. Look what happens. If I also start by going over, I'm going to keep going with that pattern, but I started the wrong way. Okay, look what's going to happen. So There, I've done a row, but now look what happens when I, do you see what's happening? It is unraveling, okay? So when you start a new row, make sure to always do the opposite. I ended by going under, I ended by going over, so that means I need to start by going under, okay? Over, under. So all the way across, and eventually you'll get pretty fast. I'm gonna pull. Ooh, that's really bunched up. Pull until it just touches it, and I'm going to stop. And I smash it down, okay? So I'm back to where I started. I ended this row by going over, so I'm gonna start by going under. Okay, over, under, all the way across. And eventually I have to just pick those up. And this time, let's see. Oh, see, I did the opposite. It's not going to unravel, okay? And then eventually you'll start to run out of yarn. And you can see I'd not have enough to make it all the way across. I have to pull so tight my ends would come in. So at that point, you're going to stop, leave a nice little tail, about 1 inch or 2 long, pull your yarn off, thread a new one, and you get to continue.